I have a severe case of obsessive compulsive disorder, and by my mid-20s, I had developed an intense fear of germs that had gotten out of control. Not just a fear of getting contaminated myself, but also a fear of inadvertently, unknowingly passing germs along to other people. And it got to the point where I was washing my hands over 100 times a day until they were raw, chapped, and bloody. And I had become pretty much housebound, and I've been put on disability. And I heard about this clinic in Philadelphia that specialized in treating obsessive compulsive disorder with behavioral therapy. And they had a special intensive 5-week OCD boot camp. So I decided, I got to get on with my life. So I packed up my bags that summer and I moved down to Philadelphia. So the first day I'm at the clinic and I'm in the lobby filling out the intake paperwork, and there's a woman sitting across from me doing the same. And she's beautiful, and she's got long strawberry blonde hair and sparkling blue eyes, and her nose is dotted with these cute little freckles. And so I decide I'm going to get up the nerve and try to talk to her. So I say, what are you in for? And she's OCD too, but she's not a germaphobe like me. She has a couple things. She has this intense fear of anything related to death. So if she hears the word death or dead or gets too close to a hospital or sees a cemetery, she goes into this downward spiral of anxiety. And the other thing is she had this debilitating fear of, she was worried that she could become morbidly obese. And she knew it was logically absurd, but she felt like if she came into physical contact with somebody who was morbidly obese, she could catch it like you catch a cold. And she's embarrassed telling me this, and I tell her it's okay, I get it, and we start swapping OCD stories, and then pretty soon we're laughing at like how bizarre and ridiculous our fears are, and she's awesome. Her name's Heidi. She's an artist from Canada. She's smart, she's funny, she's charming, and I feel like we're connecting. I feel like we got a real vibe going, and I want to ask her out, but I'm afraid to. I'm afraid I'm not worthy of this woman, and I'm afraid she'll say no. So I don't. I think we're here for 5 weeks. I'll wait for a more opportune time and feel things out. So later that day, I meet my behavioral therapist, Dr. Gozak, and he's all business. And he says, okay, Steve, what are you afraid of? And I said, well, a lot of things, but for starters, my shoes. He said, why your shoes? Well, because your shoes are in constant contact with the ground, and the ground is littered with all kinds of horrible things like garbage and feces and used condoms. And he's like, all right, Steve, by the end of the program, we're going to be touching all those things. And I said, hold up. That's not really what I signed up for. I'll be happy if I can tie my shoes without that being a traumatic event. So that afternoon, we venture out into the hot, muggy Philadelphia summer, and pretty soon he's got me picking up stuff off the ground, like discarded wrappers and wadded up tissues, and he has me putting them in my pockets. And I should mention, one of the requirements of this program is I'm not allowed to wash my hands. Oh, God. Not ever, for the whole 5 weeks. And I'm only allowed a single 5-minute shower once every 4 days. This is the only time I'm allowed to touch water. And because I have this fear of spreading germs to other people unknowingly, as soon as my hands feel sufficiently gross and contaminated, we'll be going to markets where I'll handle all the fresh fruit. And I know other people will be buying. So amazingly, this method is like really effective. And by the second week, Dr. Kozak has me out in the park and I'm bending down, touching some dog shit. And I'm marveling at myself. I'm kind of proud, and I'm like, check me out. I'm touching dog shit. Maybe I am worthy of Heidi. Yeah, I'm gonna. When we get back to the clinic, I'm gonna ask Heidi out, and I'm feeling confident. We go back to the clinic, and I see Heidi in the lobby, and I march up to her. I'm gonna ask her out, but she looks pale and shaken, and And I said, hey, you doing okay? And she said, not so much. They had taken her to a mall and had her hug morbidly obese people. And for a brief moment I thought, as a skinny guy, maybe I could offer, she could undo some of the anxiety by hugging a skinny guy, but I knew that was against the spirit of the program. Regardless, this was clearly a bad time to ask her out. Asking for rejection, so I didn't ask her out, and I figured I'll wait till she's in a better place. So, fourth week in, Dr. Kozak and I are kicking ass. We're going into public restrooms, grabbing the toilet seat with both hands, actually dipping my fingers in the toilet water, coming out, shaking hands with strangers, handling the fruit. So one day we're on our way to the market to handle all the fruit, and we pass this porno shop, and Dr. Kozak says hey, let's go into the porno shop. And I'm like, okay. And we go in there, and the back wall there's this row of video booths, that private video booths that gentlemen go into when they're in need of release, let's say. And so it's go in those booths. So I'm like, okay. So I go in the booth and I shut the door, and it's very dimly lit, but I can make out some things. I can see a box of tissues, and I can see the video screen and the coin slot where you feed quarters to get your porn at 30 seconds a pop. And Dr. Kozak's barking instructions through the door. He's yelling through the door. And apparently it doesn't faze any of the other patrons. And I have to think Dr. Kozak brings all his patients here. And so he's okay, Steve, I want you to touch the screen and touch the coin slot and touch the wall, and it's dark, but I can see streaks on the wall. And I touch the wall, and he's okay, Steve, I want you to touch the floor. And I look down, and I can't see it. It's too dark. It's just darkness. And the floor of a private video booth in a seedy porn shop, this is my Mount Everest. And so I slowly bend down, and I put my hands on the floor, and as I'm peeling my palms off the floor, I hear Dr. Kozak yell, all right, let's go to the market. And so we head to the market, touch some dog shit along the way for good measure. And we get there, and I'm handling all the peaches and the pears and the plums and the apples. Get my hands all over everything, and Dr. Kozak's why don't you get yourself an apple? I'm okay. You want one? He's not after you touched it. All right, funny man. So I get my apple, and we're walking back to the clinic, and I'm eating the apple, and I have conquered everything. I am bulletproof. I cannot be harmed. And I am feeling on top of the world, and damn it, I'm going to ask Heidi out. I don't care what the vibe is. I don't care what's going on. I'm asking her out. I'm going to do this. So we get to the clinic, and I go to the lobby, and I look around, and I don't see her. And I walk up to the receptionist, and I say, excuse me, have you seen Heidi around today? And the receptionist says, oh, I'm sorry. Heidi wasn't handling the program too well, and she dropped out and flew back to Canada. And there was no forwarding information. And I often think back and wonder what it would have been like if Heidi and I had gotten together. But at least I learned something that summer. Actually, I learned two things. If you really like someone, don't wait for the perfect time, because it's never going to come. And for God's sake, wash your fruit before you eat it.